OG's officially back. OG was everywhere in this game. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals, while shooting 50% from the field in 43 minutes. That's as complete of a performance as you could ask for. He played with purpose, moved with intention, and made an impact without needing a single play called for him. That's exactly what makes him so valuable. He doesn't need to dominate the ball to dominate the game. His defense was suffocating from start to finish. He locked in and made every possession a battle for Miami's scores. It didn't matter who he was matched up against, he disrupted everything. He rotated perfect, stayed disciplined, and forced tough shots possession after possession. He contested everything, shut down lanes, and refused to let his assignments get comfortable. He was all over the place, making an impact every second he was on the floor. Guarding Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro is a challenge for anyone, but OG made it look routine. He stuck to Herro like glue, closing out with perfect timing and forcing him into bad shots. There was no breathing room. He stayed attached to him on the perimeter, fought through screens, and never let him get into a rhythm. When he switched on to Bam, he stood his ground, used his strength, and forced him into awkward, contested attempts. Every shot was a battle with OG on him. His presence in the paint was just as important. He altered shots, deterred drives, and protected the rim without even needing to block everything. Just having him there forced Miami's players to second-guess their shots. His ability to defend both bigs and guards at such a high level is rare. He made an impact all over the court, shutting down one of the best offensive teams in the league. And his offense? Just as impressive. He didn't just stand around waiting for the ball. He was in constant motion, cutting, relocating, and creating space for his teammates. He found his shots within the flow of the game, never forcing anything, and always taking high percentage looks. He knocked down jumpers, finished at the rim, and made sure every shot counted. His 5 assists were just as valuable. He kept the ball moving, made smart reads, and set up teammates for easy buckets. He was unselfish, always looking for the best shot instead of hunting his own. That kind of playmaking from a wing is huge, especially on a night where he was already doing so much on defense. 3 blocks and 2 steals only tell part of the story. He was in passing lanes, forcing turnovers, and making plays that don't even show up in the box score. He disrupted Miami's entire offense just by being in the right spots and reacting at the perfect time. That level of defensive awareness is special. This wasn't just a good game, it was dominant. He controlled the game without needing the ball in his hands, made life miserable for Miami's best players, and stepped up in every possible way. If he keeps playing with this level of intensity, he's going to be a nightmare for every team they face. And the thing is, OG's impact didn't just start with the Miami game, he was huge in the game before that too. Against the Grizzlies, he put up 19 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 17 from the field, hit 4 threes on 10 attempts, and delivered one of the biggest shots of the season with under 5 seconds left. That kind of production on both ends is exactly why he's so valuable. With the game on the line, everyone in the building expected Jalen Brunson to take the final shot. He's earned the nickname Captain Clutch for a reason, and he's been on fire in late game moments lately. But instead of forcing a tough look, he made the right play. Memphis threw everything at him on the perimeter, forcing him to attack the paint. He stayed composed, read the defense perfectly, and kicked it out to OG, who had just enough time to get set. That's trust. That's making the right play under pressure. OG caught it clean, squared up, and let it fly. The ball sailed through the air. The crowd held its breath, and it splashed through the net with just over 4 seconds left. That was the game. The shot that sealed a thrilling 1-point win. The Grizzlies had a chance to answer, but Ja's layup bounced out, and that was it. OG's 3 was the difference between winning and losing, but his impact went way beyond just that moment. He played hard on both ends all night, logging 38 minutes and making his presence felt everywhere. He battled on the boards, played unselfish basketball, and delivered on defense when it mattered most. Those 2 blocks were huge, and his positioning all night kept Memphis from getting easy looks. He switched onto multiple assignments, stayed locked in, and made sure his presence was felt on every possession. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I'd genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, OG, his offense was just as important. He found ways to get his shots, moved without the ball, and stayed aggressive throughout the game. 7 makes on 17 shots isn't the most efficient night, but the fact that he kept shooting, kept finding ways to contribute, and never backed down from the moment is exactly what this team needs. 4 threes on 10 attempts is a strong number, especially considering the quality of looks he was getting. He took shots within the flow of the offense, never forced anything, and stepped up when it mattered most. 3 rebounds and 3 assists might not jump off the page, but they mattered. He kept possessions alive, helped move the ball, and stayed involved in every part of the game. His unselfishness is what makes him so valuable. He's never looking to pad his own stats. He's always focused on making the right play. That's what makes him such a perfect fit. Back-to-back games of high-level play. First, he delivers in crunch time against Memphis, hitting the go-ahead 3 and putting up 19 points. Then, he follows it up with 23 points, 9 rebounds, and lockdown defense against Miami. That's exactly what this team needs from him. If he keeps playing like this, he completely changes their ceiling. But the thing is, even though he's had his ups and downs this season, his overall stats are still really great. OG's impact this season's been undeniable, and the numbers prove it. His on-off stats are elite, ranking higher than 95% of players in the league. That alone speaks volumes about how much he changes the game when he's on the floor. Whether it's offense, defense, or overall team success, his presence makes a massive difference, and the stats back it up in every way. His offensive rating sits at 120.6, which is a huge number. That means when he's on the court, his team's scoring at an incredibly high rate. This isn't just about points. This is about efficiency, ball movement, and overall offensive effectiveness. The offense is simply better with him in the lineup. He spaces the floor, keeps the ball moving, and takes smart shots. He doesn't need to dominate the ball to make an impact, and that makes him even more valuable. His ability to stretch the floor is reflected in that number. He's a legitimate threat from 3, which forces defenders to stay attached to him instead of helping elsewhere. That alone creates opportunities for his teammates. The spacing he provides allows the offense to run more smoothly, opening up driving lanes and better looks all over the floor. He's also constantly moving, cutting at the right times, and putting himself in positions to score without disrupting the flow of the game. And when he gets the ball, he makes the right decisions. He takes high percentage shots, doesn't force bad looks, and stays efficient. That's why the offense runs so well when he's in the game. The numbers don't lie. His presence makes everything better. Defensively, he's just as impactful. His defensive rating sits at 113.8. That number might not look as dominant on the surface, but when you compare it to the rest of the team, it's clear how important he is. He's taking on the toughest assignments every single night, switching onto multiple positions and making life miserable for scorers. The eye test says it, but the numbers confirm it. His ability to contest shots, force tough looks, and lock in for entire possessions directly impacts how well his team can get stops. He's not just getting steals or blocks. He's completely shutting down his assignments, forcing bad shots, and making sure every single attempt is as tough as possible. His defensive versatility's a huge reason for that number. He can guard wings, bigs, and even some guards, which allows his team to switch freely without getting exposed. He doesn't get bullied inside, he doesn't lose focus on the perimeter, and he doesn't let his assignments get comfortable. That kind of defensive impact is rare, and his numbers show just how much of a difference he makes. His net rating tells the whole story. He sits at plus 6.7, which means his team outscores opponents by nearly 7 points per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. That's a massive number. That number alone proves he's one of the most impactful two-way players in the league. That plus 6.7 net ratings, a direct result of everything he does on both ends. His offensive rating's high because of his efficiency and movement. His defensive rating's strong because of his versatility and effort. And when you combine the two, you get a player who completely changes the game when he's on the floor. His team doesn't just play better with him, they win those minutes convincingly. And then there's the mixed teamwork ranking, which puts him in the 95th percentile in terms of how much his presence creates a positive margin for his team. That means he's more impactful than 95% of players in the league when it comes to actually making a winning difference. That's an elite ranking that proves his importance. His plus-minus numbers back it up even further. He's got a positive plus-minus in 56.6% of games this season. That means more than half the time he plays. His team's outscoring their opponent during his minutes. That kind of consistency is rare, and it speaks to how often he helps his team win. That plus-minus number isn't just a coincidence. It's a direct result of everything he does. He makes winning plays. He doesn't take possessions off, and he finds ways to contribute even when he's not scoring. That's what separates good players from truly impactful ones. His on-off impact's even more proof. His team's point differential is plus 5.1 when he's on the court compared to when he's off. That means when he plays, his team's winning by 5 more points per 100 possessions than when he's on the bench. That's a massive swing. That's the kind of impact you see from the most valuable players in the league. That plus 5.1 difference shows just how much of a game changer he is. Whether it's scoring, defense, rebounding, or playmaking, his presence alone makes his team significantly better. The numbers don't lie. When he's on the floor, good things happen. This kind of statistical dominance is rare. Offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, plus minus, mixed teamwork ranking, and on-off numbers all tell the same story. OG's one of the most impactful players in the league. He makes his team better in every possible way. And the numbers prove that every time he steps on the floor, his team's got a significantly better chance of winning. But the thing OG's most known for is, of course, his defense. OG's defensive impact this season's been undeniable, and the numbers back it up. He ranks in the 76th percentile in mixed team defense, which means he's better than 76% of players in the league when it comes to preventing opponents from scoring. That's not just about individual defense. It also factors in his ability to make the entire team better on that end of the floor. His presence alone changes how opponents attack, and that's reflected in every single defensive stat. Starting with his steals, he's averaging 1.4 per game. That might not seem like the highest number in the league, but it speaks to his ability to disrupt passing lanes and create turnovers without gambling too much. He doesn't just go for steals recklessly. He picks his spots, reads the offense, and forces mistakes in a way that doesn't compromise the team's structure. He's disciplined, always in the right position, and never lets his assignment get comfortable. His length and anticipation allow him to swipe the ball cleanly without fouling, which is a huge reason why his team benefits so much from his presence. Every steal he gets turns into a transition opportunity, and those extra possessions are crucial over the course of a game. The fact that he gets 1.4 per game while also guarding the toughest assignments every night is proof of just how locked in he is defensively. Then there are the blocks. He's averaging 0.9 per game, which is a solid number for a wing defender. He's not a traditional shot blocker like a center, but his ability to contest shots at the rim and on the perimeter makes a massive difference. He times his jumps perfectly, stays disciplined, and forces opponents into tough shots, even when he's not getting an official block. His ability to block shots without overcommitting is what makes him so valuable. He doesn't leave his feet too early, he doesn't bite on pump fakes, and he doesn't give up positioning just to chase a highlight. Rejection. His timing is elite, and his blocks often come at the perfect moment to change a possession. Those nearly one block per game are momentum shift, and they play a huge role in his overall defensive impact. His rebounding numbers also play a key role in his defensive success. He's averaging 3.4 defensive rebounds per game, which is important because it means he's finishing defensive possessions. Contesting shots is one thing, but actually securing the ball and preventing second chance opportunities is just as crucial. He boxes out, attacks the glass, and makes sure his team can close out stops effectively. His ability to grab defensive boards also allows his team to push the pace in transition. The faster they can get the ball and go, the harder it is for opponents to set up their offense. Every rebound he secures helps eliminate easy putbacks and keeps his team in control of the tempo. His 3.4 defensive rebounds per game might not seem like a massive number, but when you combine it with everything else he does defensively, it's clear how valuable it is. Then there's the overall team defensive efficiency, which sits at 113.8. That number represents how well his team performs on defense with him in the lineup, and it shows just how much of an impact he has. That rating means his team's holding opponents to an average of 113.8 points per 100 possessions, which is a strong number in today's high-scoring league. That defensive efficiency number is a direct result of everything he does on the floor. His ability to guard multiple positions, contest shots, force turnovers, and finish possessions with rebounds all contribute to making his team better on that end. He doesn't just excel as an individual defender, he makes the entire unit stronger. That's what separates elite defenders from good ones. His mixed team defense ranking, which puts him above 76% of players in the league, is proof of that. It measures not only his individual ability to shut down opponents, but also his impact on overall team defense. That number shows that when he's on the court, opponents struggle to score at a much higher rate than when he's off. He's not just doing his job, he's making sure the entire team benefits from his presence. The numbers tell the whole story. 1.4 steals per game, nearly 1 block per game, 3.4 defensive rebounds, and a defensive efficiency of 113.8. All of these stats point to the same thing. OG's a high-level defender who consistently makes life difficult for opponents. He's not just solid on defense, he's a game changer. His ability to disrupt offenses, force mistakes, and prevent easy buckets is exactly what makes him such a valuable asset. His defense isn't just about numbers, it's about results. The stats prove he's one of the most impactful defenders in the league, and his presence on the court makes a huge difference. Every stop he gets, every shot he contests, and every turnover he forces adds up over the course of a game. And that's why his defensive metrics are so strong. The numbers don't lie. OG's defense is elite. He's shutting down opponents, making his team better, and proving that his presence alone can change the outcome of a game. His defensive impact's undeniable, and these stats are just further proof of why he's one of the most valuable two-way players in the league. And the thing is, even though he's had some off nights, he's still been pretty efficient this season. He's averaging 16.1 points per game, ranking above 84% of players in the league. That's impressive, considering he's typically the third or fourth option behind Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and sometimes Bridges, depending on the night. Despite not having the same volume of shot attempts as some of his teammates, he's still putting up strong scoring numbers while maintaining elite efficiency. OG's ability to maximize his opportunities is what makes him so valuable offensively. He's averaging 12.7 field goal attempts per game while scoring 16.1 points. That means he's making the most of his shots and not wasting possessions. His points per field goal attempt sit at 1.1, showing that every shot he takes is contributing efficiently to the team's scoring output. He doesn't force bad looks, and that's reflected in his percentages. His effective field goal percentage sits at 55.6%, ranking higher than 65% of players in the league. That number adjusts for the fact that three-pointers are worth more than two-pointers, meaning his ability to score efficiently from all areas of the court is a major asset. He's taking high-quality shots, hitting them at an elite rate, and making sure every possession counts. From two-point range, he's averaging 3.9 made field goals per game. That shows he's effective inside the arc, whether it's finishing at the rim, scoring in transition, or taking mid-range jumpers when necessary. He doesn't settle for bad shots. He picks his spots, uses his size and strength, and capitalizes on scoring opportunities. From beyond the arc, he's making 2.1 threes per game, another sign of his balanced scoring ability. He's a legitimate three-point threat, stretching the floor and forcing defenders to respect his shot. That opens up driving lanes for his teammates and makes the offense more difficult to guard. The fact that he's hitting over 2 threes per game while also scoring efficiently inside shows just how versatile he is. His true shooting percentage sits at 58.4%, again, ranking above 65% of players in the league. That number accounts for field goals, three-pointers, and free throws, giving a complete picture of his scoring efficiency. It shows that he's not just getting points, he's doing it in the most effective way possible. His points per scoring attempt sit at 1.2, meaning he's getting more out of his shots than most players in the league. His ability to score efficiently without a high volume of shots makes him the perfect complementary piece alongside high usage players like Brunson, Towns, and Bridges. He doesn't need the ball in his hands constantly to make an impact. He moves well off the ball, finds open spots on the floor, and takes smart shots within the flow of the offense. That's why his efficiency numbers are so strong. He's always in the right place, taking the right shots, and not forcing anything. Even at the free throw line, he's contributing efficiently. He's averaging 2.5 free throw attempts per game, which isn't the highest volume, but when he gets to the line, he makes them count. He takes advantage of his opportunities, doesn't waste possessions, and ensures his team gets the most out of every trip down the floor. The numbers make it clear. OG's one of the most efficient scorers in the league among players in his role. His ability to score 16.1 points per game while maintaining high shooting percentages shows just how effective he is. He's not just putting up numbers, he's doing it in a way that makes the entire offense better. His versatility makes him a nightmare to guard. He can score at all three levels, knock down threes at a high rate, finish inside with strength, and hit shots efficiently in between. He doesn't rely on a single area of scoring, which makes him difficult to game plan against. Defenders have to respect his outside shot, his ability to cut to the basket, and his finishing ability inside. That's why he's so valuable offensively. OG's impact on scoring goes beyond just putting up points. He makes the entire offense run more smoothly. His ability to space the floor creates opportunities for his teammates. His off-ball movement leads to easy baskets. His willingness to take smart shots instead of forcing bad ones helps the entire team play more efficiently. That's why his scoring numbers are so impressive. Everything about his stats shows that he's not just an average scorer, he's an elite one for his role. 16.1 points per game, 55.6% effective field goal percentage, 58.4% true shooting percentage, 2.1 threes per game, 3.9 twos per game, and 1.2 points per scoring attempt all prove one thing. OG's a high-level offensive weapon who makes the most of every opportunity. When you compare his efficiency to players with similar roles, it's clear that he stands out. He's scoring more efficiently than most players who take the same number of shots per game. That's why he ranks in the 84th percentile in scoring impact. He's producing at a high level without needing a huge volume of shots. That ability to maximize every possession is what makes him so important. He doesn't need plays called for him, he doesn't need to dominate the ball, and he doesn't need to take a ton of shots to make a difference. He just goes out there and scores efficiently, making sure every shot he takes is a good one. The numbers tell the full story. OG's not just a good scorer, he's an elite one when it comes to efficiency. 16.1 points per game on outstanding shooting percentages while playing as the third or fourth option isn't easy. He's proving that he can thrive in any situation, scoring when needed, while keeping the offense flowing at a high level. His stats prove just how valuable he is as a scorer, and there's no doubt he's one of the most efficient offensive players in the league for his role. But lastly, I want to talk about his usage. OG's usage rate this season sits at 18.1%, ranking higher than 53% of players in the league. That number might not seem high at first glance, but it perfectly reflects his role in the offense. He's not the primary option, nor is he someone who needs the ball constantly to make an impact. Instead, he plays within the flow of the game, taking smart shots, making the right passes, and ensuring every possession he's involved in leads to a positive outcome. OG's offensive actions per game show exactly how he's being used. He's averaging 12.7 field goal attempts, 2.5 free throw attempts, 2 assists, and 1.3 turnovers per game. That means he's involved in finishing plays, but doesn't dominate possessions. His efficiency allows him to produce without needing a high volume of touches, and his decision-making ensures he's contributing without forcing bad plays. His possessions played per game sit at 73.5, meaning he's on the floor for a high number of offensive sequences, but doesn't use a large percentage of them. That's what makes his game so valuable. He maximizes his opportunities without disrupting the team's offensive rhythm. Players with a high usage rate often need the ball in their hands constantly, but OG thrives as someone who contributes without demanding extra touches. His role as a third or fourth option behind Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and sometimes Bridges, depending on the night, makes this usage rate even more impressive. Despite not having as many plays run for him, he still finds ways to be efficient and productive. His ability to play off others, move without the ball, and take smart shots makes him the perfect fit for a team with multiple high usage players. His field goal attempts per game highlight exactly how he operates. He's taking 12.7 shots per game, a number that's solid but far from being a volume scorer. Instead of forcing up a high number of shots, he takes what the defense gives him, staying within the flow of the offense and making sure every attempt is a good one. That's why his efficiency numbers are so strong. He doesn't waste possessions. His free throw attempts sit at 2.5 per game, showing that while he's not constantly attacking the rim, he's still finding ways to get to the line. He takes advantage of his opportunities, drawing contact when necessary, and making sure he gets the most out of every trip to the basket. He doesn't rely on free throws to boost his scoring, but he uses them effectively when given the chance. His assist numbers further show how he fits into the offense. He's averaging 2 assists per game, which isn't a huge number but is important given his role. He's not a primary playmaker, but he moves the ball well, makes the right reads, and sets up teammates when needed. His ability to make quick, smart passes keeps the offense flowing and ensures that he's contributing in more ways than just scoring. His turnovers per game sit at 1.3, which is an incredibly low number for a player who's consistently involved in the offense. That's what makes him so efficient. He doesn't waste possessions with careless mistakes. He takes care of the ball, makes smart decisions, and ensures that his team gets a quality look every time he's involved in a play. His ability to keep turnovers low while still contributing as a scorer and passer is a major reason why his team benefits so much from his presence. His overall possessions played per game, being 73.5, is another key indicator of his role. He's on the court for a high number of plays, but his usage rate remains low because he's not dominating possessions. He's selective in how he impacts the game, making sure that every action he takes is efficient and beneficial to the team. That ability to play high minutes while maintaining a low usage rate is rare, and it speaks to how seamlessly he fits into different lineups. OG's ability to remain effective with a moderate usage rate is what makes him such a valuable piece. He doesn't need the ball to be impactful. He doesn't need to take a high number of shots to contribute. He doesn't need to control the offense to make a difference. He simply plays smart, efficient basketball, making the most of every opportunity he gets. His usage rate being lower than primary scoring options allows the offense to stay balanced. Brunson, Towns, and Bridges can take on heavier workloads, while OG picks his spots and contributes in key moments. He's the type of player who can go several possessions without taking a shot, then suddenly knock down a big three or finish a tough layup in transition. His ability to stay ready while not demanding the ball is exactly what makes him such a perfect fit in the system. The numbers show that OG's involved just enough to make a consistent impact without ever taking away from the team's overall offensive strategy. His 12.7 field goal attempts per game ensure he's a legitimate scoring threat. His 2.5 free throw attempts show he can get to the line when needed, and his 2 assists per game prove that he's not just looking to score, he's making the right plays at the right times. And his 1.3 turnovers per game, that's one of the most impressive numbers of them all. It means he's taking care of the ball while still playing an active role in the offense. He doesn't make reckless passes, he doesn't force bad shots, and he doesn't put his team in bad situations. That kind of efficiency is incredibly valuable, especially for a player who's relied on to contribute on both ends of the floor. When looking at the full picture, his usage rate of 18.1% is perfect for the role he plays. It allows the team to run through their primary scorers while still benefiting from OG's efficiency and versatility. He's involved just enough to keep the offense running smoothly, but not so much that he takes away from the team's top options. The numbers tell the full story. His usage rate may not be the highest, but his efficiency, shot selection, low turnover rate, and ability to play within the system make him one of the most valuable players in his role. He doesn't need the ball constantly to make a difference. He simply steps in, does his job, and helps his team win. That's what makes him such an elite two-way player. Overall though, OG's been everything his team needs and more. Whether it's his suffocating defense, his efficient scoring, or his ability to contribute without dominating possessions, he's proven to be one of the most valuable two-way players in the league. His numbers tell the entire story. When he's on the floor, good things happen. His defensive presence has been elite all season. He's constantly taking on the toughest assignments, shutting down scorers, and making life miserable for opposing offenses. His ability to guard multiple positions, contest shots, and force mistakes is rare. He doesn't just make an impact individually, he raises the entire team's defensive level. That's why his defensive efficiency rating is so strong, and why his on-off numbers prove his presence is a game changer. Offensively, he's embraced his role perfectly. He's not the first option, sometimes not even the second or third, but he still finds ways to put up highly efficient numbers. He spaces the floor, moves without the ball, and makes sure every shot he takes is a smart one. His ability to score 16 points per game while maintaining elite efficiency is what separates him from other players in similar roles. What makes him even more valuable is how he fits within the system. His usage rate shows that he doesn't need a high volume of touches to make an impact. He plays within the flow of the offense, picks his spots, and ensures he's contributing in ways that help his team win. He's not someone who needs plays called for him. He just goes out and makes things happen. The numbers don't lie. His on-off numbers rank among the best in the league. His defensive impact is undeniable. His efficiency on offense is elite. He plays with discipline, makes the right decisions, and always finds a way to contribute to winning basketball. That's what makes him so special. No matter what the box score says on a given night, his presence is always felt. Whether it's locking down an elite scorer, knocking down clutch shots, or making the right read at the perfect moment, he consistently delivers in ways that don't always show up in highlights. He doesn't need flashy plays, he just makes winning plays. If he keeps playing with this level of intensity and consistency, there's no ceiling to what he can bring to his team. He's the kind of player who makes championship-level basketball possible. When he's locked in, everything just runs smoother. His teammates benefit from his energy, his opponents feel his presence, and his impact is undeniable. OG is officially back. And if this level of play continues, the rest of the league better take notice. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.